We are here on tour and we're here to answer your questions because it is Sunday. That's what we do at 9 o'clock Pacific and 12 o'clock Eastern, and I'm on Eastern. Who knew? So anyways, the question was, how many mat exercises are in a 30-minute mat class? And I love this question so much because it tells me that you're really trying to figure out, like, how do I set up the most amazing mat class for the people that I'm teaching. And so first of all, we'll get into that in a second. I wanted to say on Sundays, we answer your questions that come from the comments on any of our videos. And so if you're taking one of our classes here on this channel or one of the free tutorials and you ask a question, we will then come live answering that question here on this channel on a Sunday. If you're an OPC member, then we will actually answer the question in our OPC membership only community, which is really exciting. We love seeing people. And while we're on tour, we're seeing so many of our OPC members. It's really just truly exciting. And so I brought out our mat flashcard deck because this actually will help me answer this question. So first of all, I think it's important to understand, like, where do mat classes come from, and before we can even talk about, like, how many exercises are in them. When Joseph Pilates created his work, he actually intended for it to be done on your own, to be self-led, to be in your own practice. He did not actually have a class that you would go take. There was not like mat classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. No, like, you would do your own workout in his studio. And so what's really cool about today's world is now we have so many amazing classes options to go take a mat class or a reformer class or a chair class, but that's not how things were. And also, when you went to Joseph Pilates studio, you didn't actually have to do a certain amount of time. You didn't schedule a time. You didn't go, I'm here for my 50-minute session or 55-minute session. You actually went, you did your workout, and you left. And so over time, as we have created classes and we have teachers, we actually do have, we have to have it so that people come at a certain time so you can pay the teacher. And then we have it for a certain length of time because people think we need to work out for an hour. So I personally like a 30-minute mat class. I also, I think it's really accessible. It's really easy. It's only 2% of your day. That's why OPC classes are 30 minutes. We do have a monthly class that's a little longer where I can actually break things down a little bit deeper for our members, and also in case you are wanting to have a little more luxurious workout. But when it comes to how many exercises are in a 30-minute mat class, I wish I could give you like a straight up black and white answer. And the truth is that it's kind of gray, because it's going to depend on the level of the people in your class. If they are new, then you are going to be teaching each exercise and breaking each exercise down and then doing it and then setting up the next one. And there's a lot of breaks. So there's going to be fewer exercises in that class than there would be if they know all the exercises, right? An advanced 30-minute class can have every card in the stack in it. I know all 34 exercises could fit in less than 30 minutes, to be honest. And so, because you can transition from one exercise to the next and you don't need to take breaks, that is going to be so much faster, a zestier class, obviously more advanced, more cardiovascular as well, than if people are a beginner. If they're a beginner, I'm going to get half of the exercises in, not just because of time, but also because of level, right? And so I wish I could say, if you teach a 30-minute class, you need 27 exercises, and if you teach an hour class, you need 48 exercises. No, there's just no answer for this. It is, who are you teaching? What are their goals? What are their needs? And so I have my mat flashcards here because what's so cool about them is that, yes, like I said, you could do all of them in 30 minutes if you're advanced, but if you're not, you can actually take them and go, okay, look at this one. So I'm upside down. So if you're new, that's going to go back in the box. Okay. Put that back in the box. This one, you're laying down. So you could probably do that or a version of that, right? So that's the card. And then it has the setup action. And then if you want to transition, that's at the very bottom, that is going to make the class faster. So if you're wanting to get more exercises in your class, you have to go from one exercise into the next as if it's part of the exercise. It's a transition. It makes it also harder to do, okay? So if you take these cards, and there's 34 of them, and you pull out all the ones that are up overhead because it's a beginner intermediate class, you're left with what's left, which is about 20-something cards. You can stretch that out to take up 30 minutes if you are teaching each exercise, or you can speed it up and take up less time if you're transitioning. And so The actual answer is like, do we need to have set class lengths, right? Or can we allow people to be in their own personal practice? And so I understand if you're a teacher watching this, you're like, but Lesley, I have to teach a 30-minute mat class and they're beginners. Great. How can you teach them the same exercise on the floor on a wall? How can you warm them up with a pole or a TheraBand or a magic circle to find their connections, right? How can you do that? And then how do we take the mat work in its integrity and teach them the exercise and then give them the zest and give them the opportunity to transition from one exercise to the next? How can we do that? And so there is no answer to your question as far as a number. I'm so sorry, but I like to be honest with you. However, I have questions for you. Who is it for? What are their goals? What are their needs? Right? Based on those things, you can figure out how many exercises are going to go in that class. And also, sometimes I have, actually, since I no longer pre-plan a class, we're on tour, none of the classes are pre-planned, I can work on the fly with what people need. But if you are someone who's new to teaching and so you're pre-planning, I would give yourself permission to go, okay, what can I get rid of if I'm not at X point by this time? And so that might help you, because based on who shows up, you might know everyone who's coming to your class always, and then someone comes with a broken leg. That's going to change the class you planned. And so what I teach the people who are in my mentorship program, Elevate, is how to look at the bodies in front of you and teach the session that they need that day with what you have access to. Right? And that is really a lot of fun, and that's how Joseph Pilates intended his work to be. And that is really how you can actually take a lot of stress off of yourself of pre-planning, because you can actually enjoy being in the moment with your clients, with the class. But this mat deck is really helpful for planning, class planning. You can put the cards out, and you can put, you can take like, okay, I'm going to get rid of these cards because this is going to be a beginner class. And you can snap a picture of it so you can see how your whole class is. You don't have to write it out. You don't have to have notes. And you can really create something that allows you to teach people that are in front of you, right? At the time that they're there. It takes a lot of pressure off of you. I promise you, you don't end up with burnout. And don't put pressure on yourself to make 34 exercises take only 30 minutes or take an hour. They can be stretched longer or shorter based on the level of the people in the class. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you so much for sending your questions in. You put them on a comment of any video, and we answer your questions live on Sundays. If you want to join us at OPC, you can see how we actually can take the classical work and make it accessible and something you can integrate and people can self-teach themselves. Go to onlinepilatesclasses.com/YouTube and try us out. We have an incredible trial offer. We have a live class every month. You get to do Pilates with me. We can give you feedback on your form. And of course, the most important things, we can help hold you accountable to your Pilates practice. Have an amazing day.